Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Believe in Bengals podcast. We are going to have a very special guest coming up here momentarily. But first, I want to let you know about Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform. And of course, it's your number one source for everything when it comes to betting on sports. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet to up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to Major League Baseball and even Formula One racing. Bet online. It's every stat, every matchup, and every live odd and spread while the games are being played. All you got to do is use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% free bet and credit and your first deposit of up to $250. Bet online is where the games start. We are joined by a truly special guest, Cincinnati Bengals all-time leading rushers in the house, Corey Dillon. How you doing, my man? Clock killing Corey Dillon.
Hey, there we go, man. I'm doing good, man, and thanks for having me.
Hey, man, it's so great to have you on this show. I remember last year when they announced the Bengals Ring of Honor for 2023. You had some words to say, and you were,
Right.
You've always been that way. You've always told people exactly how you feel. And I got to tell you, man, I was like the witness on the witness stand, Exhibit A. I'm bringing out all your numbers. I'm like, this dude, he broke Walter Payton's record. He broke Jim Brown's record. He holds every record.
Right.
He should go into the Bengals Ring of Honor. So when you got the call, what was that like and what resonated with you?
Dude, you know what? It was like a daily routine with me. I was headed to the golf range, man, trying to fix where I'm shanking these balls, right?
Okay.
And then I was like, you know what? Let me check my phone before I go because I usually get up there and just turn it off completely. Mm-hmm. And then I seen a 513 number I didn't recognize, and I was just like, let me take this now before I get up there.
Yeah.
And I listened to the voicemail. It was Mike Brown, so I hit him back immediately, and we had a wonderful conversation, man. It was like all that tension and anxiety that's been going on over the years, man, just kind of evaporated, and we got on the same page, and he told me the good news, and man, now I'm here.
Well, man, look, and many of us here in Cincinnati who still live here, we remember Corey Dillon. I remember the year before you, they had drafted Kajana Carter. And then coming back, we all knew, I said, they're going to take a running back. And I'm telling you, I'm working for Channel 5. I'm telling you, they're going to get this dude out of the University of Washington, and he's cold-blooded. Corey Dillon. I'm like, they got to go ahead and take him. And, man, look, you wasted no time. I remember you as a rookie. You were serious about what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then I remember that fateful night. It was on a Thursday night game against the Houston Oilers, now the Tennessee Titans. And they had a great defense. But it was something about you that night where you just was in front of a nationally televised audience. You went on to break Jim Brown's single-game rookie rushing record. I know you remember that game. What do you remember most about that night, your rookie season?
I think that was one of my first starts, man. And I was just like, hey, man, I got to show up and do what I do and let people know I can play this game. So
yeah.
Along with that and that determination of going out there and proving myself, man, you know what? We had Boomer, we had a great offensive line, and they were out there doing their thing, man. So they made it easy for me, man. And my whole philosophy at the time is, and throughout my career is, man, 4 yards is a good play.
Yeah.
Anything after 4 yards is a bonus. So my mind was just stuck on getting 4 yards, making one cut and get upfield, and it turned into breaking a record.
Man, look, you lit it up. 246 yards. You had 4 rushing touchdowns. I remember I was just a lowly reporter, man, working in local TV. I had to pull you in front of a live shot. And I just remember you being so cool. You were kind of like, it was a big thing, but you didn't want to make a big thing of it. I just remember you being very humble. You didn't want to gloat in that moment, but you were so cool about it because you know who Walter Payton is. What were you feeling when we were sitting there talking during the interview? Because it seemed like you really didn't want to upstage him, and you didn't really want to bask in the glow of the limelight or anything like that.
Hey, man, I mean, there's a couple of running backs. There's a handful of running backs where I feel like they're unk and the godfather of running backs, right?
Yeah.
And Jim Brown to me is the godfather. Walter
Right.
Payton is one of the unks. And I feel sometimes some things ain't meant to be broken. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And just due to the fact that he passed recently and
Yeah.
we embarked on that record, man, it was bittersweet, man. I was overwhelmed, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because you know what? There's been games like years past where we've been knocking on the door and you know what, we end up winning, and then I come out in the third quarter or something, and then people always say, man, if you would have stayed in, maybe you could have broke the record.
That's right.
So to actually that Denver game to eclipse that record, I mean, it just kind of hit me differently, man. I adore Walter Payton, man. That was one of my guys I watched growing up, man. And dude, it was a bittersweet moment for me.
Yeah, you broke a lot of records. You also, as you said, broke Walter Payton's single game rushing record during the 2000 season. And for those of us who know you, we know that, look, you're not the one who brings it up. Everybody else, when they come up to you, they're the ones who bring it up. And I got to say this, it's a rare person that can walk around and say, I broke a record that used to belong to Jim Brown. I broke a record that used to belong to Walter Payton. You're one of those rare men. Do you ever allow that to resonate with you? What's the thought that comes to mind?
Solid, man. That's the first time I really thought about that.
Is that right? Is that right? Man, that's a rare cat. Corey, come on, man.
I'm being serious. Man, that's the first. Hey, now that you mention it, that's the first time I really thought about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is pretty cool though. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But man, I've been taught to always just be humble, man, and and you know, things are what they are, man. So yeah, they're great records, and I broke them, man, and eventually they got broken. So I understand the reality that these records will be broken someday. So
yeah,
I didn't want to get too high and didn't want to get too low with it. I always try to strive and try to get better, you know, and just use those records as measuring sticks when I go out there and play. So
what you did was so special. When you broke Jim Brown's record that night, Jim Brown's record had stood for 40 years.
Right.
And then you came along and broke it and made it look easy. Walter Payton's record, I think, has stood for 23 years.
20-some years.
Yeah, and then you came along and broke that. I think that's very special. I think doing that and the 11,000 career yards, I think that puts you in the Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Have you ever allowed yourself to kind of think about what that would be like?
Oh man, that's the icing on the cake, that part, man. I think, man, as me playing, I never really thought about it. You know what I mean? Because I'm going through it at that time. I'm there actually playing. But man, when you sit back and you retire and then you recap your whole career and you be like, yeah, I got a pretty good case. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And why not? So that's kind of where I'm at. And I think we're going in a Ring of Honor, man, is spicing up my resume. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And because I heard a term, man, you know what? All us retired folks, we get together, we talk.
That's right.
So I'm actually talking to a friend of mine, Joey Porter, for the Steelers, man. And I'm on the phone with him and Adrian Ross. And he made a great point to me. The point was like, how you gonna get into the Hall of Fame if your own team don't honor you? And I thought about that, man.
Good point. Good point.
I really, and this was back like a year ago, man. And I was like, damn, he do have a good point about that. That does make a lot of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So it kind of dawned on me, like, man, I got an uphill battle, bro. I gotta start.
Yeah, man.
I gotta figure some things out.
It's a stepping stone, isn't it? It's like a stepping stone. So going to the Bengals Ring of Honor, this is kind of it's an official thing. And now that it's happening to you, there's other doors that are open here, right?
Other avenues that possibly could open up. And listen to me, man. This is one hell of an honor.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm overwhelmed by this moment. And I'm gonna embrace it, man, and enjoy it because, bro, just looking back on where I started to now, man, it's been a roller coaster, brother. And I gotta thank the front office and my teammates.
Yeah.
That we done came back full circle, man, and everything's good now, and we can move forward.
That's what I've always tried to get people to understand how important winning was to you.
Right.
I was around you in the 90s. Right. I was around you in the early 2000s.
Right.
I remember when the Patriots won that Super Bowl and you were on that team. You were instrumental. You scored 13 rushing touchdowns that year. I mean, you helped carry that team to a Super Bowl. And that had to be sort of like the cherry on the top for you, because for all the records and all the rushing yards, winning seemed like it was always priority number one for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of people understood where I was coming from. Like, dude, from Pop Warner to the pros, man, in one season, I probably lost probably 2 games in a season ever. You know what I mean?
Ever.
So I'm fixed on winning and going out there and performing and doing whatever it takes to get the win. So actually getting there and just going through them tough times, man, that wore on me a little bit. Yeah. And then on top of that, my personality is a little different.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I mean, if I could compare it to anybody, my personality was like Kobe Bryant's, man. I'm about my business.
You are.
And I'm focused on that, man. Everything else could wait.
You're right.
So I think that kind of came off wrong too, man. So looking back on it, man, I could have did some things different and been more social and more receptive. But I was young, man, and I was just fixed on my craft and trying to win, and sometimes that came out the wrong way. And then on top of it, I do talk trash too, so
that's okay. That's okay. Look, hey, nobody wanted to tackle you, man. I could tell you that. So it worked for you. There was this mentality about you that preceded you. That NFL defensive players around this league, they knew that if they were going to go up against Corey Dillon, they had to bring an extra mouthpiece, an extra chin strap, because it was going to be a long day at the ballpark.
And that was my whole point, man. I kind of felt, or I put in my mind, like, a team's coming here thinking it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you, it ain't going to be easy. You know what I mean? So that was my whole mentality and mindset in each game. And for the most part, it worked out pretty good. Pretty good.
It worked out very, very well. You hold 5 Cincinnati Bengals rushing records. You own 3, still to this day, 3 rushing records with another organization, that is the New England Patriots. You were part of that dynasty.
Right.
But I think it speaks well of you that you own rushing records everywhere you've been, going back to whether it's high school, University of Washington, where you
junior
were.
College.
Junior college. Yeah, I did my reading on you. I was like, man, this dude broke records everywhere he went.
Right.
So I want to tap into that. I want to know, when Corey Dillon got the ball, no matter where you at, you seemed like you had this purpose. What drove you to be the runner that you were and the player that you were?
Man, to be honest with you, man, I owe that to my older brothers, man. So growing up, man, we played football religiously, man. And you got to understand, my 2 older brothers, they 5 and 7 years older than me. So I'm the young pup.
Wow.
They didn't take a light on me. So in order for me to play, I had to be tough and be a little different, just to hang and just to play. So growing up in the neighborhood, the kids were older. So my whole thing was, man, I got to be extra special playing with these guys and be a little bit more aggressive. And it worked out, man. It kind of transferred over, man. I grew up, that's the only type of football I know, being aggressive and going out there and giving it your all.
Yeah, when you're the youngest and you have older brothers, I have 3 older brothers. You got to bring some attitude with you, bro.
You got to be different. You got to be a little different.
There's no doubt. Because you're already playing. You're the smallest guy out there. They're bigger than you. They're stronger than you. They're faster than you. You got to you got to bring extra attitude, because that's what keep them off you a little bit.
Exactly. So I learned the hard way.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's
Yes,
good
indeed.
stuff. Well, Eric, talk to me about just now that you look back on your career, over 11,000 yards rushing. In fact, you rank 20th on the all-time list.
Right.
Every guy ahead of you, you're just behind, I think, John Riggins, who's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Everyone on that list, I think, except Fred Taylor and Steven Jackson, those are the only two guys ahead of you that aren't in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I know we talked about it, but when you look at those numbers, and you look at the records that you broke and the records that you hold and the imprint that you made on both franchises, it reeks to me of a Hall of Fame resume. What does it mean to you when you look at your accomplishments?
Hey, not bad at all, man. And honestly, man, all those guys, Steven Jackson, Fred Taylor, I think they should be in as well. So
yeah,
I don't know what the criteria is or what's the debate about. I do think it's a Bengal thing, though, to be honest with you. And I seeing Big Will getting as far as he's getting, he should be in soon.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of opening up the avenue for the rest of us, man.
Yeah.
Hey, there is good players. I mean, great, excellent players that play for the Bengals. And I think the turn of events is also watching these young Thundercats, Trent just flipping that franchise into a
that's right,
winning mode. Like people respect the Bengals right now. Like
they really do.
And that I think that's a huge difference between like the late 90s where people didn't respect the Bengals at all. So I think everything is perfect time and everything is coming together. And the fact that the franchise is moving forward and doing great. And we having options of other, like Ken Anderson. Hey, he's up there too.
That's right.
Willie Anderson, hey, possibly could be in next year, man.
Yeah.
It's just our turn, man. And I want everybody to get in there, man. And I'm rooting for the program to, go out there and hunt down that Super Bowl. Hey, it makes a big difference to all of us. I mean, you, me, I mean, that
absolutely.
The state is in right now, man. That's a big deal. I like it. I catch them every Sunday, man, to be like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's right. That's how I was when I watched you. And I even when you left and went to New England, I was like, that's my dude.
Yeah.
And I still say to this day, as much as I respect my guy, James Brooks, I respect all the great running backs the Cincinnati Bengals ever had. But I said, of the best, if I had to take one, I'm taking Corey Dillon. There ain't no doubt about it. And you've always proved
you know what? Hey, JB's a bad boy too. Man.
He bad dude. He's a bad dude now.
He's a bad boy, man.
That's right.
I deeply appreciate that coming from you, man. And dude, man, this is just a great day, man. I think overall, like, Bengal Nation's in a great place. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's right.
I can't wait for this season, man, and see Burrow get back to doing what he do.
He is a great player. I got to ask you, because you're going to go into the Bengals Ring of Honor with another great player, one of my all-time favorite teammates anywhere, anytime. I always tell people is Tim Crumry. I love the way he practiced. I love the way he played. That guy is a gamer in everything he does. Now, he's going to make it a physical event. So you're going in with Tim Crumry. What does that mean? Because he was around during your playing days, and you got to be very close with him.
Yeah, he was actually one of the D-line coaches, man. And I'm just like, we had conversations about life. We didn't talk too much football. We talked about life in general, man. And we had great conversations, man. And it's something to it where, as a player, you're talking to a coach that was a dog. You know what I mean? Like,
yes, absolutely.
That went out there and he was grimy and gritty and one of the craziest dudes on the planet, man. There's a level of respect that goes along with that, man. And trust me, all the players gravitated to Crumry and respected him to the utmost, man. I told everybody, like, dude, this is a double honor. That's my dog right there. I would take me and Crumry in an alley full any day.
Any day.
And we're walking out of there.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. So it's a great honor going in with Tim, man.
Yeah.
He's one hell of a person and one hell of a football player. So it's gonna be a great moment.
Hey, Corey, I think Mike Brown says, who are two of the meanest, baddest dudes I had on each side of the ball? And I think he said Corey Dillon and Tim Crumrock. They're going in together. That's what they did. That's what they did. I'm telling you. Because, man, look, you never took a step backwards. You never you were the guy that put out a winning performance every single week. And you know, when I talk to Jim Anderson about you, he says the same thing about you, man. So we just appreciate you. We appreciate what you did for Cincinnati Bengals fans. So we want to make this a great homecoming, because I know when you come in here, it's going to be like 1 month before your 50th birthday. So we got to do this right. We got to do this right.
Hey, brother, I'm getting old.
I know. I like Corey Dillon can't be 50 years old, man.
Yeah.
What does that make me? What does that make me? You about to be 5-0.
I'm about to be 5-0, man.
Okay.
Hey, just to piggyback on what you said earlier about Jim Anderson, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I had no choice. That man was in my ear every day, man. Relentless, like, hey, and this is what he used to tell me: no matter what happens out there, man, you go out there and be great. Yeah. And that stuck with me. Yeah. That stuck with me, man. So every time I stepped out there, man, I gave it my all.
Yeah, I think it's something for Cincinnati Bengals fans when you come back to Paycor Stadium in September to be honored and go into the Ring of Honor. People can look at you and say, of all the great players they had, you're one of them, and there's no doubt about it. You are the team's leading rusher even to this day. And I want people to know during your final season in the NFL, you were the active all-time leading rusher of any other runner who played in your final year. So that tells you what you not only accomplished for this franchise, but what you've done for the National Football League. We can't tell the story of the NFL without talking about Corey Dillon, someone who broke Jim Brown's record and Walter Payton's record. That's a big thing. So you're going to be going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. We're going to make sure of it. I'm going to make sure I bring you on my Sirius XM NFL radio show.
Okay.
We're going to take this national, okay?
Oh, yes, sir. We got to do it. We got to do it. I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Do it. Corey Dillon, you're the best, my friend. Thank you for joining us on the Believe in Bengal podcast. All the best to you, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
Oh, man, Solomon, good seeing you, brother, and thank you.
Good seeing you, too. That is Corey Dillon, clock-killing Corey Dillon. That was great, spending time with clock-killing Corey Dillon. I'm going to tell you right now, he is one of the special running backs the league has ever seen. Remember, he finished out his college career in 1996 as a consensus All-American running back coming out of the University of Washington. And when the Bengals chose him in the 1997 draft, he was a second-round pick. And they chose him because they didn't know if Kajana Carter was going to come back from that devastating knee injury. And so it wasn't written in stone that Corey Dillon was going to go on to be this great star. But by the end of the 1997 season, during his rookie year, not only did he break Jim Brown's 40-year-old rushing single-game rushing record, he would make the NFL's all-rookie team that very same year. And then he would go on to become the Cincinnati Bengals all-time leading rusher, where he is still holding that title to this very day. Corey Dillon is a very special running back. He is, I think, a future Hall of Famer. And Cincinnati Bengal fans, I want you to show him love when he comes back on September 23rd against the Washington Redskins. It's going to be on a Monday night, and he's going to go into the Bengals Ring of Honor. And I want us all to begin to sing in chorus to help Corey Dillon to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because he deserves to be there. If you break a record that used to belong to Jim Brown, and you break a record that once belonged to Walter Payton, you belong in a place where they're at, where their images right now are resting in Canton, Ohio, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And we want Corey Dillon in there as well. Everyone, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this really special episode of the Believe in Bengal podcast. I know I did, so don't forget to join me next time.